Week 2 in the news. This is our first assignment, the In the News presentation. It was designed to be of ease. It is designed to give you a platform to speak on a topic that you do not have to do a lot of research for, nor do you have to go out of your natural lives for. Find a story, an article, something that's happening, public information that you would naturally speak about. Maybe you would share with a friend about the NBA Finals and the Celtics winning the first game. This is Friday, so who knows what's happened since then. But you know how exciting that is. Or maybe you want to talk about something new that's happening in the local landfill, or something that's happening at one of your child's schools, or that's happening in a community event that's going on. Maybe they're doing a Clean the Beach Day and you want to speak about that. Anything you would naturally talk about to another friend, another person in your life, that would be a conversation piece. That's what the In the News was designed to do, to give you a platform to speak about public information that was in ease. Now, we know how difficult it is to keep up with the news because of so many different news sources are out there. So whatever you do naturally, maybe you get your news from a podcast or a radio show, or maybe you do watch the NBC, CBS, ABC nightly news, wherever you get it from, and any topic that would be natural for you to speak about. So you're going to find your topic, and I'm looking over here to look at the assignment to see, so make sure I don't confuse you. And then it says credible news item, from something that's credible. That makes sense. And then you're going to start the practice for all the speeches. It's going to be the same. It's like Groundhog's Day. There's always going to be an introduction, a body, and a conclusion, just like you would find in written communication. Even if you're writing a letter, it's like, Dear Sir, and then there's the contents of the letter, and then sincerely yours. So there's a beginning, a middle, and an end. So that is true of these speeches as well. All the speeches are going to be graded on your adhering to the assignment. It's not so much the quality of what you do, but it's your effort of what you do. There'll be some students in our class that are gifted speakers. They came in that way, and they have the gift of gab, and they can engage an audience and follow an outline, and it almost seems effortless for them. With others, it's going to be a little bit more of a challenge to say, I am now speaking for a grade. That is just so weird. But as long as you follow the outline that I present for each one of our presentations, you're going to be fine. Most grades are either an 80, a 90, or 100. That's if you do it at all. Now, if you don't do it at all, you could fail, but you're not going to fail. 100 would mean that you have an introduction, body, conclusion, and you were sincere and you weren't faking it, and you were doing your best to connect to your audience. So that would be 100. A 90 usually means you forgot one of the pieces. You forgot the introduction or you forgot the conclusion. Most students don't forget the body, but that's what they'll do. They'll rush right in and just start talking. And like, whoa, 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 who are you and what is this speech about? Like, how can you engage the audience initially if you don't give us some background or something to hang on to? So it's important that you do that. And other times students forget the conclusion. They start off great. They say, hi, my name is Joyce. I received my news article today from the 6 o'clock evening news on NBC, and they were talking about the landfill in Dartmouth. I'm making this up, but anything like that. So that would be my introduction. And then I would go into the content, paraphrase it says in the outline what the story was about, as if I was telling my boyfriend about it or my daughter about it, and as naturally as you can. It is a monologue, it's not a dialogue, but it's like a heightened conversation. And then the conclusion, the reason why you selected this and what your opinion is on it. That's what I want. Like, why did you pick this? So the outline is pretty much connected to how you naturally might speak about something. Not that you're going to say, hi, my name is, because you know the person, but it definitely could be something that you feel that you would naturally do. Like say, hey, I just saw this story on this news show about, and then you tell what it's about, and then you engage in a dialogue with the person you're connecting to about what you heard. None of this is in in real life experience necessarily. It's mostly all made up. I'm just making this up as I go along. But the point is that this is within your reach to do this. This is something that you could feel that you are capable of, that this is not so foreign. So I don't want the speeches to feel like you would never talk this way. You talk this way all the time. So I'm just asking you to bring it in so that you can present it for the class. So you're going to find a topic of some interest. You're going to look at the outline, that's the handout online, the handout for In the News. You're going to follow what it says, and the introduction is going to state your name and where you got your story from. Then you're going to paraphrase the story, and then you're going to put in the conclusion. And as you do this, you're going to realize that you're thinking of the time all the time. So when students say, how long should my introduction be? How long should my body be? How long should my conclusion be? Well, that's going to be up to you. But that's also part of the lessons of this class, like how fast or slow time goes by. When I ask someone to write, say, an essay, and I say, do 5 paragraphs, well, you can count those, right? Or 500 words, right? You can count those. This is a little different. For the most part, the introductions for the In the News will be very quick, maybe 30 seconds. And then the body might be another 2 minutes, right? Maybe a minute and a half to 2 minutes. And the conclusion, another 30 seconds, or maybe a little longer if you have more to say about your opinion. And sum it all up, it should be between 2 to 5 minutes. And that's when you're going to practice, as you practice. So you'll find a topic that's of interest to you, something that you would naturally speak about. It could be from podcast, a magazine, a Facebook post, or wherever you find your public information, and you're going to present it to the class. I was listening today to the self-introductions. We have 7 students who have participated so far. This is only Friday, so you have until Sunday, and I'm sure the rest will come in over the weekend. And they all had great content. They were telling about themselves. So, you could speak from what you said in your self-introductions. And for some people, when I wrote down my comments, I said that. Your speeches are right here. You talk about your children, or you talk about marine biology, or you talk about farming, or you talk about aviation or gymnastics. It's all right there. So I don't want you to stray too far from who you are when it comes to these topics. Or if for some of our presentations in the future are informative and are persuasive, it could be based on research you've already done for another class. You've already wrote an essay for, let's say, your English class, your history class, and then you're going to take it out, and you're not going to read your essay. It's not a read, it's a speech. So now you're going to shake it out and put it into public speaking form, and you're going to deliver it. So the In the News is there for you. Keep your volume up. Try to keep your eye contact the best you can, a nice posture, be believable. If you believe in what you're speaking about, you will be believable. Your nonverbal will follow. Nonverbal meaning the visual and your vocal. It will connect to your words. So all of that does fall into play. And communication starts and just keeps going. Oral communication, right? It only goes in one direction. It does not go in reverse. I recently been helping students to prepare for their valedictorian speeches. I am very fortunate that I have young people in my life that have had this honor. And I just want to show you a little bit about the writing process. We're going to be speaking about this soon enough, about the 4 methods of speech delivery. And one of them is extemporaneous speaking, which is speaking from a prepared notes or an outline. And another one is memorizing your speech, which I never recommend. A third is manuscript, when you just write it all out like an essay, and that becomes very difficult to present because it always sounds so artificial. And then the 4th would be impromptu, where you just, on the fly, you just decide what you're going to say. None of those work. Only, to me, only one works is extemporaneous. And I'll show you a bit of how that worked with the last student I worked with. She got the assignment. She was going to be the class valedictorian, so she had to think in terms of what she wanted to say. So she had to think, and she figured out her message, and then she had to decide how she was going to deliver that message, how she was going to encode it, right? And we know from being human beings who've been using our oral communication skills all our life that we connect with our words, with the sound of our voice, and with our visual. So we talked about that. And I said, well, prepare an outline. Just brainstorm through what you might say in this presentation. So she came out with a one-page outline that looked like this, right? This was it. And it was just an outline. And you'll be doing that for your speeches. You'll make an outline. How are you going to paraphrase this article or story? Just put down some key ideas, what you would say. And those are just thoughts, right? They're not developed yet. And then take time to develop the thoughts. Develop it as if you were writing an essay for someone to read. This is not going to be a read. This is going to be for listeners, but just go through the written communication process first. And then she did that, and she developed her essay, and it was 4 pages, and it was so many words, all in prose, but she took her themes in her outline, and then she put in the details, and it was very, very well done. But she can't do this as her notes. This would be way too wordy. It would be too much for the listeners. It'd be too much for her. It's very hard to keep your energy up when you're reading from prose like this. So what the suggestion is to do it extemporaneously is to have a prepared outline or notes. So it definitely takes one draft to another draft to another draft to get to the point where you're comfortable. Now, I know some of you might not do this the first speech because this might be just more casual, but when you do your informative, your persuasive, I really suggest this method. And then she broke it down into key ideas. So as she did this, she bulleted the key ideas, right? And she broke it down into simple sentences. If any of you are a fan of Ernest Hemingway, you know his skill in writing great thoughts, fantastic novels, all in simple sentences. And when you do this in speaking, it makes it so much easier to read. It makes it so much easier for the listeners to hear, right? If someone is speaking way too long, like I'm doing now, you want to say, get to the point, right? Get to the point. In your speeches, you will get to the point. So we will talk more about the 4 methods of delivering presentations. We'll talk more about verbal and nonverbal connections with your audience. And maybe the next video, I'll go into more and more of the academics behind public speaking. But for right now, find a topic that is some interest to you, and then present it to the class. And hopefully we'll get some feedback from the students, right? When they may write little notes on your VoiceThread. And all these beginning speeches are wonderful for us to like springboard in the future for our informative, our persuasive, and even our personal experience and brief opinion. All the topics are in you. You already have everything you need. You just got to get them out. So get those self-introductions in. Right now we have 7 on the book. Let's see. Heard from Bryce and Tara and Joss and Dimitri and Jesse and Linda. I'm forgetting someone. Let's see. Tara, Joss, Dimitri, Jesse, Linda, Bryce, Sterling. Yes, Sterling. So 7 so far. I know the rest of you will follow. But you can't see each other's self-introductions until you first post yours. Because once you save your VoiceThread, then submit, which is very important, it'll go into the student gallery. And then you can enjoy each other's. And it really is a pleasure. I was watching them again today. I watched a few of them who came in earlier in the week. And I always get this like heartfelt like tear thinking how wonderful it is that students have adapted to the technology and are doing the best they can to get through their freshman, sophomore level classes. And for some of you, this is your last class before graduation. Some of you will be graduating with a bachelor's degree, and you're just taking this public speaking class to finish that off, or you're going to be quickly finishing at Bristol Community College and getting your associates. So it's very cool that we get to see you and get to know you a little bit. So in the news, week 2, you'll be hearing from me again. I'm never done with these videos. I try to make them short, but it's not in my nature. Bye for now.